things. Dan's worked in restaurants and pubs, bars, but also mining. And I guess, we've known each other for a little while now, but part of this is just wanting to touch on something that's become very apparent to both of us, and that's men's mental health. So in the business world, but the mining world, and just in general. What's your story? How did you get to where you are?
Good question. Thought about this a little bit last night when you asked me to come in here, because I was like, how do we answer that? I don't know. Hence I was talking about off air with you, it's kind of, why are we here? What are we doing? We don't know. It's just something's in this space. But then I was like, why am I in this space, in this room right now? And then I sort of backtracked a little bit. Definitely helps with right now. I'm with one of the big companies and in the improvement specialist space, and got some time to do some coaching in the business world. But it's allowed me to have some time to sort of focus outside of that. And it's sort of linking together a little bit. But I guess when I look back on it, I guess my first role up was landscaper by trade, but then went into mum and dad broke up actually. And dad bought a pub, brought me in as a director, manager at the age of 21. And then I was like, yeah, so that's probably where it started, where I guess it was I was paid. So when you become a publican, they should really warn you, you should have a psychologist degree or have some part of it, because it's crazy. You become that person that learns to listen.
Yes.
Back then I didn't realise that, but it's actually my job was to not manipulate, but you listened to also gain that business. So, hey, have another beer, Henry.
For sure.
But at the same time, it's like you read people the minute they walked in that door. It's like, dude, you're broken. What's going on?
Well, yeah, and just coming back to, I guess, the whole culture and the mentality of like men's mental health is it's grab a beer. It's when you're having a shitty day, it's go to the pub.
It was country pub, so it's small country pub in Queensland. Farmers, that was 95% of the clientele.
Yeah.
So it was like that's the first exposure I had to sort of adulthood. I was 21.
Yes.
And I was behind a bar watching all these grown men come in, and a mix of arrangement, like emotions, like wanting to be happy, fighting, life, women, kids, but then let's fuel that with alcohol.
Yeah.
And then let a 21 try to work through that a little bit. So but then I really enjoyed that. I found I was drawn to that sort of stuff anyway. So we spent a lot of time always just having conversations, and I guess that's where it started for me, was recognising that reading people, and
you read between the lines
a little bit. Yeah, it's hard because it's your job.
Yeah.
But at the same time as that genuine sort of, these guys are struggling here a little bit, that duty of care to get them home safely.
Yeah.
And really seeing people at the bottom of the barrel in pubs, like it's scary now in reflection. I didn't realise at the time. Literally it was last night when I sat back and thought about this. I was like, wow, that's where I got that first probably exposure to it. It didn't deal with it well either. It was...
Do you mean just in yourself noticing that desire to help people, or that desire to recognise that you can see things that maybe they can't see?
Not so much not knowing how to help.
Yeah.
It was all just a band-aid.
Yeah.
Drinking for that night after night, every week the same guy would come in, but never really had that conversation,
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yes.
I think I wanted to know more about that, and always had that compassion for people. But looking back on it, I was like, wow, there's some serious stuff going on, and no one knew how to handle that, especially country Queensland.
No, of course.
So that's kind of the father's generation of men.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years moved on, and then got into mining.
Why?
Probably before that got into construction. 7 years we sold the pub and broke up with my partner then. So at the end of 2 big relationships. Didn't know what to do, so I packed up a ute and drove to Darwin.
Yeah, wow, cool.
Left everything behind a little bit. 7 years later, I returned back to Queensland a couple of years ago with a whole new family, and just never went back in a sense. But so I had to force to find another industry. So I was 28, out of a pub, no real skill set.
Yeah.
So a bit of construction, bit of mining, moved around, went to Perth, construction.
Yeah.
And then moved up to Kununurra just to get in the mines green.
Mm-hmm.
So we're living, a group of us in the house, cousin, brother, working in a pub, doing it pretty tough.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, not knowing what to do, what direction. You know, you get to about the age of 28, you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And then, it worked out. We got some opportunities in the mines.
Okay.
And that kind of started that side of it. So
if you fast forward now, back in the mines.
Yep.
Different role.
Yep.
Are you noticing a shift in the culture? Are you noticing, because obviously I've spent some time as well doing like the compliance side of things, and it's another world that you don't necessarily get to be exposed to until you're immersed in it. You know, there's sort of this perception that, you know, miners get paid all this money and yada yada yada. You know, the golden handcuffs, and they're cruising around on nice Harleys and living in nice homes, but I don't think people understand the sacrifice, or, you know, almost this like selling of the soul to achieve these things. And it comes back to this again, like almost belief that the money is going to solve the issues. And I perceive it as we get stuck because of the security, because of the pay, because of the flashy things. It's this lifestyle. But does it really serve us? Does it really serve us to be away from the family and the kids? And, you know, I think the mental health is becoming a huge issue in that space.
I think it's in every space. I think it's really amplified in mining.
Yeah.
Because I can relate to both civil and mining. Mining's just got more of that, like you said, that golden
money.
Yeah, it is. It's got that more of the monetary attachment, that everything's shiny out there.
Yeah.
Construction's the same issue, same mental health problems. Men working 6 days a week, 6.5 days a week.
Yeah.
Battling through the same things.
Yeah.
Wishing they were in mining. And then you do get into mining. And it's the same mental battle. Except for it's more amplified because of that solitude. So yeah, it is real, and I don't actually think it's getting better.
Okay.
I haven't got stats to back that up. I've got a few. We had a really good speech the other day about it, and it's getting more open. We're aware of it a lot more. And a great point, like we've got those great days, Are You Okay? We've got some really powerful speakers. It's amazing, but a great program. So obviously a massive mining company I work for.
Yeah.
Throw all the money into it.
Yeah.
All the support you want. But is it making any impact? As in how?
With the individual.
With the individual, it's like great. I come back to it with yourself. Like it's like I looked at you in the gym one day and I was like, cool, this guy looks, you know, he's staunch, he's got some size. I was like, you know, he's got his shit together. And it wasn't until I spoke to you a couple of weeks later and had that really good conversation at the squat rack.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, and you told me about some stuff and I was like, wow, this guy just opened up.
Yeah.
But not only that, you gave me those tools and you recommended some stuff and that rewired and just as it turns out, that was the pathway that sort of got me into that space, and I was sort of ready to receive it then. But we go to mining where it's like, yeah, we talk about it, but no one gives you the tools that I see, because it's like, yeah, are you okay? Make sure you can go talk to somebody and go, mate, how are you travelling?
Yeah. I find in sharing's the easiest way to create, you know, when you're vulnerable, someone else can be vulnerable.
Yeah.
It's the easiest way to build a connection quickly. And two people, you know, recognize that, well, you're not perfect and I know I'm not perfect, and we've got common ground. But
what do you do with that? That's the thing. Like, I think a lot of that happens. Like, we go, dude, yeah, we're broken.
Yeah.
Cool, catch you later.
Yeah.
And then especially mining, you go back to it, next minute these guys are sitting on a truck for 12-hour shifts in their own head. Yeah, we know there's something going on, but they're like, we don't know how to work, how to deal with this. We don't know what to do.
No. And then, you know, some of these rosters are horrific, you know, like 4 and 1, 3 and 1, you know, those are rough to be away for that amount of time. And you know what, like, I think these guys, like, they're almost okay when they're at work because they have no choice not to be. They're just, but it's when you come home and you got the fat paycheck and now there's no structure.
Yeah.
And it's like just self-destruct. It's partying, it's drinking, it's drugs, it's whatever. It's let's go and buy the new thing.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the guys that maybe don't have other commitments, families and kids.
Yeah, definitely two sides of that, I think. Yeah.
But you know, then there's the guys, you know, like yourself, that does have the family and the kids, and it's away from them, and
Yep.
the struggles that brings, and the pressure that puts on the relationship, and you know, is the relationship in a really good place, and how secure do you feel in that, and are you happy when you're away, and are they happy when you're away, and you know, it was the same.
And what happens when you are happier when you're away?
Well,
You know what I mean? It's it's so many questions, and it's such a big thing, and so many different dynamics.
Yeah.
But it's also that, regardless of what space you're in, what roster, it's those tools that you know I'm talking about. That's like, how do you arm yourself with? It doesn't matter where you are, where that problem arises, where that comes from. It's like, if you can equip yourself with those techniques that you're well adversed in, and I'm starting to learn about. That's what we need to get out there, and especially in mining, because it's
okay. So in yourself, what allowed you to open up to that other side, where it was no longer drinking at the pub with the boys to cope and to, you know, de-stress, and it was, I know there's more here. What was that moment in you that you realized that you didn't want to keep doing it the way you were doing it?
And that's the thing with me. I was never the cashed up, single, flamboyant, buy expensive shit guy from the mines.
The cowboy.
Yeah, I wish I was at that point. I never really got into that. I went out there. I was 30 really when I got in the mines. I was all about the career. So I was studying. I was putting that pressure on myself. You know, new relationship, go to the gym. You know, have to train. Want to bulk up. Want to do that. What degree have I got to get to become superintendent, to be manager?
So you're driven with it.
Driven with it. That's what my focus was. So. Did that, and I still did that right up until, don't know, it was COVID that really kicked in. We were back in business in the restaurant game, and then that shifted back into mining. So that was great. I was mining week on, week off. I was doing my business degree,
serving a purpose.
Wife and 2 kids, running the business. Gymming, training. Going hard, flat out.
Structure.
Yeah,
structure and purpose.
I can handle that. No worries. But I was fatigued. Woke up fatigued every day. Had the blood test, did everything. Everything's great. And I'm like, you can't be.
I feel shit.
I'm a piece of shit. Like, I can't get out of bed in the mornings. Got into the sleep hygiene a little bit. Said, okay, there's something in this maybe. And pausing for a minute. And I think I watched that series you recommended. I think I did 1 meditation. I remember walking out of that meditation and just staring at a tree and looking at a leaf and just going, how green is this, and the blue sky.
Wow.
And I was like, what's going on? What the fuck? Seriously. And then I was like, cool, I'm kind of into this. And then within a week or two, and nothing more, just sort of put uni on hold, and realised I had to work on the family as well. And just stopped a few things, and just stopped, and like headaches went away. That's probably a turning point where I was like, cool, there's something in this. I don't know what it is. And that's about where it turned for me, I guess, a little bit.
Cool. Because some people never get there.
No.
And I know in, you know, the work that I was doing, we were dealing with a lot of truck drivers, and you know, these people would live on Red Bull, smoke cigarettes all day, every day. They would drink excessively in the evenings. You know, we had share houses, so they'd all live together, work together. And it's just this recipe for disaster, because they just feel shit all the time. I remember, you know, you go back to these houses, and like, there was one guy, he was asleep in this chair, you know, next to no clothes on, with his hand in a cake, you know, covered in cake, passed out, snoring, with the news blaring. And it's like, how long can you do this for as a human? Living like this, you know, and that's one extreme. But there's the other, you know, there's a big drinking culture and the big Band-Aid culture. And, you know, I think it's interesting when we actually, the moment where we stop and we look at ourselves and go, well, who am I without the labels? Why am I doing this job? Where am I at? why is my relationship the way it is?
Yeah.
Am I happy? I'm always cranky with the kids. Yes, I'm earning this money, but for what?
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a real defining kind of pivotal moment where once you see it and you have it, like there's no turning back. There's no, it's like this step into the unknown. And once it starts, you can't stop it.
Yeah.
But some people never get there.
No, probably won't. Interesting, because like I said, I know your story a little bit, and yeah, to do that, that's massive.
Mm.
And then for the other guys, it's like you can't walk away from it. You know, you got that commitment. You think you are.
Yeah. Well,
Or they think they're into it. Like I look at superintendent managers above. Yeah, I go to the airport every flying, twice a week now, and I just look at people and I had a joke with another lady. She's like, look at every. You can tell they're miners.
Mm.
They all look the same.
Mm.
Well, what do you mean? She goes, they're all fat, all obese, tired, and look stressed.
Yeah.
And miserable.
Sick.
It looked terrible. On all the money in the world, highly functioning, highly, intelligent, amazing people. But if you pull them apart, and I've been doing it lately, it's like, are you happy? How do you feel?
Yeah.
Not too many people turn around that should be, like we said, we put them up there as these superintendent managers, massive money. No one's got that package all together.
No.
They're all stressed, they're all broken. They're, like you said, they're all living on caffeine. It's a worry. It concerns me. Only because I want to be able to go out there and help people and fix and just talk to it now that you're aware of and go, well, there are some things out there that...
Yeah, I watched this really cool thing with Simon Sinek, and he was sort of saying, and a question he kept getting asked was, how do you get out of your own way? And he's like, well, you get out of your own way by helping someone else get out of their way. And it's like, well, how do I fix myself? Well, I fix myself by helping others fix themselves. And I'm the same in terms of, like, I've been able to recognize my shortcomings and where I was tripping up and not having the tools. And then I guess trying to create a space where you're saying to other people, men and women, it's okay to stop and to look at yourself and realize that it's maybe not as shiny as you wanted to believe it was.
No.
And that kind of for me was this, when I realized I was ticking all the boxes, all of them, and it wasn't enough. There was still something. It was like, there's something missing. Why am I unhappy? Why do I wake tired? I'm doing all the things society says I should be doing. And that's, that's a moment where you're like, and everything maybe I believe is maybe not as true as I want it to be. Right? Because, well, you're playing the game, but you're not winning. And that's quite sobering. And then the only thing you have to look at is yourself. Because, well, you've ticked all the boxes on the outside. It's like, okay, it's me. I am the common denominator. Now what?
Yeah.
But yeah, as I said, once you start on that path of truth and wanting to change, wanting better, wanting to know yourself, like, there is no turning back. It's ruthless.
Yeah.
Because you got to kind of let go of everything that's not full truth. Be willing to burn it all. But yes, I guess what I feel passionate about is like wanting to help people get there, or if they've got there, now what? Like, what are the tools? What are the first steps?
Yeah.
Because there are guys, you know them, I know them. There's guys everywhere that are ticking boxes.
Yeah.
But broken, struggling.
100%. And that's. So I was smiling while you're talking about that, because it's like, it's a huge piece. Like, you know what I mean? That conversation you just had, it's a big one. And a lot of people, that scares the shit out of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Massively. Even myself, I'm like, whoa, this dude's in deep. Like,
but it's easy.
But I get it, and I love it. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, yeah, it's hard to say because it's like, there are people out there that still love doing what they're doing in the mining world, and they got their purpose that have fit a little bit. I had a great chat with the superintendent the other day, and she's like, yeah, I chose to come into mining. I actually took a pay hit, which is surprising.
Yeah, wow.
She's a head of the aviation world.
Wow.
Yeah, young, took the role because she saw it as her opportunity to make change in the environment.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. And it's the first person I've ever heard sort of put that spin on it. Because normally it is that cash grab and shiny life.
Yeah.
For her, no, she was about purpose.
Cool.
But at the same time, not happy. A lot of stress. On the outside, had it all together.
Yeah.
But you start having those questions, like I said, men and women.
Yeah.
You sort of break that down to human factor, and that emotion comes up, and it's the same conversation.
Yeah.
Same things. They potentially know what they could be doing, but no one's doing it.
No.
So it's a hard one. Like, you've got I'm on two sides of it where you got like everything you say. I love like basis on that. Like once you stop and how do you do it? Like I'm seeing what you're doing. I'm like, love it, love to do it. And then on the flip side, you're like, how do you do that? How could everybody do that? And what about for the guys that don't want to necessarily go? Where's that in between? What's that balance?
How can you improve your quality of life without going down the full woo-woo?
To a point,
yeah.
Having a bit of both and having that balance, but being aware of making that decision.
Yeah.
And being at peace with it, knowing your purpose, and then if you can link them up, perfect.
Yeah, and I think this all comes back to just people knowing themselves.
Yeah.
And actually giving some time to what their values are, and then the why. Like if you can work a 2 and 2 roster and earn good money, and that is to serve whatever your purpose is.
Yep.
Fantastic! What an incredible opportunity.
100%.
But if you're out there and you're just lost, and coming home and blowing your pay, and you're sacrificing your health, because these are long days.
Even if you're not sacrificing your pay, if you're still going out there, which I'm doing it now. So we go into an even time roster. You work away because you think it's all the big money, and then you come back and you go, I'm not actually saving that much money. We're not buying the boats. We're not doing the. So like, why am I working away?
Yeah.
What am I doing? It's that. It's not all that big shiny money. That's only one small element of it.
For sure.
But if you can link those purposes, and like I said, my job at the moment is coaching purpose.
Yeah.
For the business, so it's
cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But without that, so that's business purpose, and then trying to link that into personal. Because I ask everyone every morning at the pre-start, I'm like, what's your purpose? Like, what's the company's purpose? What's your department's purpose? Why are you guys here? How are you going to get value out of your day? What do you want to do? How do you walk out with a sense of accomplishment at the end of the day? That's what we're trying to promote and encourage. But I was like, wind that back as well. Like, you're here this morning. Why are you in this room? Don't answer that. I'm just like, think about it. Like, why? Do you really want to be out here? Would you rather be fishing? Would you rather be,
Or if you apply those same questions to yourself as an individual.
Yeah.
It would be a whole nother answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm thinking about it first as a person.
Yeah.
So when you come into that room, you go, no, I chose to be here. I chose to be here at 5 a.m. In my high vis.
But did you really?
Don't know. I'm just saying, if you did, be at peace with that. Own it. And it's, I guess for me, getting back to that mining, it's that culture and that toxicity.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm not happy with life. It's nothing to do with work. Work's great, potentially. But they bring in that mindset from everything else. It's because they're stressed, hungover, tired, home life's not great. You bring that in, then we're not talking about being positive. We're talking about, oh, fuck, here we go again, like, that's shit, I'm tired, this is shit, oh, he's shit, he annoys me, this is fucked, I hate this place. And then that just spreads.
100%.
And then I know, because I was the guy that walked in, I was positive. I'm like, I walked out of mine and came back into mine, and I was like, this is a fucking privilege. I love it. I was like, I'm getting paid to do what?
Yeah.
I'm not, getting that big inspiration, but I'm like, I'm enjoying this. If I'm coming from small business where you bust your ass,
man,
and watch life fall apart outside of that, to then go somewhere where you got all the support, everything you possibly want. I was like, as far as work goes, I was like, at that time.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with this. But then after a while, I got drawn back down with everybody else. It was just negative, and you start absorbing that energy, and I was like, holy shit.
Well, it's like that saying, you know, how do you if you're like a bad dog and you put it in a good pack, the pack breaks it and turns it into a good dog. It's the same thing the other way around. If you put a good dog in a shit pack, it's going to become a shit dog too.
100%.
But it's interesting when you just said about small business being, you know, fucking nightmare, destroys everything. And there's this perception that small business and working for yourself is the be all and end all. But man, it is not.
Oh, dude.
And you know, just your perspective too on how you were in mining, left, and came back when this is a privilege. You know, it was the same with the gym. So, you know, I PT'd on and off forever, but you know, you pay a rent, you pay $250, $300 a week, and you can run your own business. You know, 24/7. The gym is taken care of. It is clean. It is maintained. It is good to go. The stuff is reupholstered. It is serviced. They buy you new gear for $300 or $250 a week. That's your only business expense.
Yeah.
You know, and the PTs run around and whinge about it.
Yeah.
And when I was running the cafe, my rent was like $1,500 a week. Yeah. I think I had to make 10 grand a week to cover expenses and stock and wages and the rest before I made $1.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why on earth would I go and start my own gym when I can pay $250 a week? And it becomes a privilege.
Everyone's happy to blame somebody else for their own failings.
Right.
It's like, that's what it comes down to. It's like, oh, I could do this. I could do this better. I could do that. So I'll do it.
Go on then.
Fucking see ya.
Yeah.
Good luck. You need to.
You have to.
I said that the other week in mining. I was like, we should pay everyone to go and work in civil construction for a month. We'll pay you. You want to fix the culture? Go put them back into civil 6 days a week. And then let's get them back in a month's time or 2 months' time and see if they're whinging and bitching about what they have to do today. Yeah. They'll all come in here, they'll skip in here. Yeah. They'll be like, what do you need me to do today? I'm all yours. Let's do this. Let's drive it.
Yeah. So you told the 24 PTs, man, go and start your own gym.
Yep.
For the next month.
Yep. And you're cleaning the shit houses.
Yeah. You go and do your own gym for the next month, see how much money you make, and then come and tell me that $250 a week is expensive.
Yeah.
Like it's all perspective and it's all the story, and I think you can make any situation serve you to a degree.
Yeah.
But then there comes this point also where it's like, well, why? Why am I now forcing something to serve me?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's the key, and it's the force.
Well,
you know, if you've got to force something, is it right?
Nah, it's probably not.
No.
It should be ease.
And it'd be nice to say it is, but then you got the reality of it, you know, and that's the scary bit. You got guys that, like I said, I look at it as a privilege what I'm doing. I battle every day. I hate every Sunday night now when I fly out.
Right.
Why am I doing this? Why am I saying goodbye to the kids? But then I fly back in Thursday nights now. Or when I'm flying up, I'm above the clouds at 6 a.m. on a Monday morning, getting paid to have a cup of coffee, you know, on work time, going, how good is this? But then you just have these ups and downs.
Of course.
And then you come back in, I'm like, this is great, your time off. But then compare that, I can't even ring my mates at the moment. No one answered the phone. 2 guys that own their own business. Neither of them answered their phone.
Yeah, interesting.
And you're like, yeah, I know it's Friday lunchtime.
Yeah.
But hey, like, you own your own business. You got, oh no, I've got flexibility, I've got freedom.
Nah.
That's why I own it.
Yeah, interesting. I think lots of things.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it's just so many different stories, so many different people. It's what's right, what's wrong, like what path, how do you do it, why do it?
Yeah.
To me, I'm just like, I don't care what you do. Like, I just want you to stop. Like, please just stop for a little bit somehow, because I know I never did. Still probably don't enough. But if you just slow down for that little bit to, you know, clear the mind, make that decision.
And just choose different.
Or stick to it and own it.
Yeah. Take responsibility for your choices.
Yeah.
And they say if you're not changing it, you're choosing it.